The old truck waited behind a rusted wire fence at the edge of a quiet town. Most people walked past it like it was not even there. The paint had faded into a dull, dusty brown. The tires were flat and half sunk into the ground. Weeds climbed around the wheels and reached up toward the doors. One side mirror hung loose, shaking a little when the wind blew. The place looked forgotten, like time had stopped and left it behind. Her name was Maya. Maya saw the truck for the first time on an evening ride home. She worked long hours in a small repair shop, and she liked the ride because it cleared her head. That day had been loud and tiring. A customer had argued about a bill. A machine had refused to start. By the time she reached the quiet road near the fence, her shoulders felt heavy. Then she noticed it. A shape behind the weeds. A strong old body hidden under rust and dust. Maya slowed down, stopped her bike, and stared. The truck looked hurt, but not dead. It felt like something was still inside it, waiting. She stood there for a long moment, listening to the soft sound of wind and distant birds. The fence had a sign that said, "No trespassing," but the letters were almost gone. The sign looked as tired as the truck. Maya did not climb the fence. She did not touch the truck that day. She simply looked, as if she was meeting someone for the first time. Then she rode home, but the image stayed in her mind. When she ate dinner, she thought about it. When she tried to sleep, she pictured the faded door and the broken mirror. She kept wondering what the truck had seen, where it had gone, and why it was left to disappear. The next morning, Maya returned on foot. She wanted to make sure it was real and not just a strange feeling from a hard day. The sunlight made the rust look brighter. Up close, she noticed details that felt important. There was an old logo on the door, almost hidden. The front grille was bent, but still strong. The windshield had a crack that ran like a thin river across the glass. Inside, the seats were torn and dry, but the shape of them showed they were once cared for. Maya crouched near the front wheel and studied the metal. Rust had eaten parts of the frame, but it was not complete. Some sections were still solid. She could tell the truck had been built tough. She knew that kind of strength. It was the kind of strength she respected. She reached her hand through a gap in the fence and rested her fingers on the hood. The metal was cold and rough. Still, she felt a strange warmth in her chest, like the truck was not just an object. It was a story. A voice behind her said, "You like that old beast?" Maya turned quickly. A man stood on the other side of the road. He had gray hair and a quiet face. He did not look angry, just curious. His hands were in his pockets, and his boots were covered in dust. "Yes," Maya said. "Do you know who owns it?" The man walked closer, stopping at the fence. He looked at the truck with a tired kind of respect. "No one now," he said. "It belonged to a family that moved away years ago. They left it. Tried to sell it later, but nobody wanted it. Then the seasons did the rest." Maya nodded slowly. "Could it be sold now?" The man let out a small laugh, not mean, just honest. "If you can drag it out and get the papers, you can probably have it cheap. Talk to the town office. They handle abandoned stuff like this." Maya felt her heart lift. "Thank you." He shrugged. "Name's Sam. People around here don't like trouble. If you do this, you'll have eyes on you." "I can live with that," Maya said. Sam looked at her more closely, as if he was trying to decide what kind of person she was. Then he nodded once and walked away. Maya went straight to the town office after work. It was a small building with old posters on the wall and a bell on the counter. The clerk was a woman with glasses and a serious voice. She checked records, asked questions, and handed Maya forms. The process was not fast. Nothing in that office was fast. But Maya stayed polite and patient. 2 weeks later, the paperwork was done. The truck still could not move on its own. Maya borrowed a tow vehicle from a friend and brought the old Harley truck to her shop. The tow chain clanked, and the tires dragged like they were tired of being forced awake. When the truck rolled into the light near the shop, People slowed their cars to stare. A man at the gas station across the street laughed and called out, "You buying scrap metal now?" Maya wiped her hands on a cloth and said calmly, "I'm restoring it." He laughed again, louder. "That thing is done." Maya did not argue. She had learned something important in life. Not everyone needed to understand. Some people only believed what they could already see. Inside her shop, Maya began with the basics. She opened the hood and stared at the engine like a doctor reading a silent face. The wiring looked chewed in places. Dust covered everything. The fuel tank smelled like old metal and stale air. The battery was dead. The belts were cracked. Rust covered bolts like hard orange skin. Most people would have looked once and quit. Maya made a list instead. She took photos of everything. She labeled parts with tape. She made small bags for bolts and wrote notes on each bag. She cleaned the floor and set up a table for the pieces she would remove. She turned on her radio, low enough to think, and started taking the truck apart. As she worked, her world became quieter. The outside noise of the town faded. The laughter from the street did not reach her. There was only the sound of tools and the steady rhythm of her hands. Days turned into weeks. Some nights, Maya stayed in the shop until the sky outside turned dark. She scrubbed rust from parts, soaked metal in oil, and searched for replacement pieces online. She visited junkyards, walking between rows of broken machines, looking for the right match. She learned quickly that old parts were not easy to find. She also learned that some strangers were kind. A man in another city mailed her a rare piece for a fair price. A woman from a truck club sent her advice and photos. People who loved old machines understood her goal. Money became tight. Maya skipped small comforts. She stopped buying takeout food. She sold a spare tool set she did not use often. Still, she did not stop. One afternoon, a teen walked into her shop. He wore a simple hoodie and looked nervous. He stood near the door like he was not sure he was allowed inside. "You fixing that old truck?" he asked. Maya looked up from her work. "Yes." The teen stepped closer. "Why?" Maya paused, then answered honestly. "Because it deserves another chance." The teen nodded slowly, as if the words made sense to him. "My name is Leo," he said. "If you need help, I can hold stuff, or sweep, or anything." Maya studied him for a moment. She could see he was not trying to show off. He just wanted to be useful. "You can start by sweeping," she said. "And if you're careful, you can hand me tools." Leo smiled, wide and real. "Okay." From that day on, Leo came often. He did not talk too much. He watched closely and learned quickly. Maya did not treat him like a child. She explained what she was doing, step by step, in simple words. She showed him how to check a bolt, how to clean a part properly, and how to stay safe around heavy equipment. One evening, after many long hours, Maya tried to start the engine for the first time. She had replaced key parts, cleaned the system, and checked the wiring again and again. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, but from hope. She turned the key. Nothing happened. Maya tried again. Still nothing. Leo held his breath, watching her face. Maya did not panic. She checked the wiring once more. She adjusted a connection, tightened a clamp, and took a slow breath. She turned the key again. The engine coughed, rough and loud. It shook like it was waking from a long sleep. Smoke puffed out, and the sound filled the shop like thunder. Maya's eyes widened. A laugh escaped her before she could stop it. She turned the key off quickly, not wanting to push too hard, but the moment was real. "It's alive," Leo whispered. Maya leaned against the wall, breathing hard, her heart racing. "Yes," she said. "It's alive." Outside the open shop door, someone clapped once. Maya turned her head and saw an older woman standing there, watching with a soft smile. "I haven't heard that sound in years," the woman said. Maya did not know her, but the woman's voice carried something deep, like memory. Maya glanced back at the truck, then at the woman again. She felt a quiet truth settling in her chest. This truck was not just a project. It meant something to this town, and to someone she had not met yet. And whatever that meaning was, it was coming closer. The next morning, Maya opened the shop early. Sunlight came through the dusty windows and landed on the old Harley truck. The blue paint she had chosen for the body was still only half done, but even in patches, it looked proud. The truck no longer felt abandoned. It felt awake. Maya tied her hair back and rolled up her sleeves. Today, she planned to work on the interior. The seats were torn and dry, and the floor was covered in dirt and rust flakes. She opened both doors and let fresh air move through the cab. The smell of old metal slowly faded. Leo arrived not long after, carrying 2 bottles of water. "I thought you might forget to drink," he said. Maya smiled. "Good thinking." They worked quietly for a while. Maya removed the seats carefully, setting them aside for repair. Leo swept the floor and wiped dust from the dashboard. Under the dirt, the dash showed signs of careful use. Small scratches near the glove box. A worn spot near the steering wheel. "This truck was driven a lot," Leo said. "Yes," Maya replied. "And not carelessly." As Maya cleaned the inside of the driver door, she noticed something strange. Beneath layers of old paint, faint lines showed through. She stopped and leaned closer. Using a soft cloth, she rubbed gently. Letters appeared, carved lightly into the metal long ago. A name. A date. Maya felt a chill run through her arms. She did not say anything at first. She stared at the carving, trying to understand it. The name was Tom. The date was from many years ago, long before she was born. Leo noticed her silence. "What is it?" Maya stepped back so he could see. Someone marked this truck. It meant something to them. Leo traced the letters with his finger, careful not to scratch the surface. "Do you think it was the owner?" "I think so," Maya said. "Or someone close to them." The discovery changed the way Maya looked at the truck. Before, it had been a machine with history. Now, it felt personal. She decided then that she would not paint over the carving. She would protect it. That afternoon, Maya visited the older woman who had clapped the night before. The woman lived 2 streets away in a small house with flowers by the door. She opened the door slowly and smiled when she saw Maya. "You're the one with the truck," the woman said. "Yes," Maya replied. "I wanted to ask you something. You said you recognized the sound." The woman nodded. "I did. That truck used to drive through this town every morning." "Do you know who owned it?" Maya asked. The woman's eyes softened. "A man named Tom. He was kind. Quiet. He served the country when he was young. After that, he worked wherever he could. That truck was with him through everything." Maya felt her chest tighten. "Do you know where he is now?" The woman shook her head. "He left town years ago. Life took him elsewhere. No one heard much after that." Maya thanked her and walked back to the shop slowly. The story stayed with her. A man. A truck. A long road. Back at the shop, she worked with more care than ever. She repaired the seat frames, replaced worn padding, and stitched new leather by hand. The work was slow, but steady. Leo watched closely and helped where he could. Over the next weeks, the truck continued to change. The engine grew stronger with each adjustment. The wiring was replaced cleanly and safely. The lights came on one by one. When Maya finally took the truck for a short drive down the road, people came out of their shops to watch. The laughter was gone. Some waved. Some smiled. A few looked quiet, like they were remembering something. One afternoon, a man stood across the street watching for a long time. He wore a worn jacket and a cap pulled low. His posture was stiff, like his body carried old weight. He did not speak. He just watched. Maya noticed him but stayed focused. She had learned not to assume. When she finished tightening a bolt, she looked up again. The man was gone. The next day, a letter arrived at the shop. There was no return address. Inside was a short note written in careful handwriting. I heard you brought the old Harley truck back to life. Thank you for treating it with respect. Maya read the note twice. Her hands trembled slightly. That evening, as the sun dipped low, a knock sounded on the shop door. Maya wiped her hands and opened it. An older man stood there. His hair was gray. His eyes were wet. He looked at the truck behind her and pressed his lips together, trying to stay steady. It's real, he said softly. You saved it. Maya knew before he said his name. My name is Tom, the man said. I never thought I would see her again. Maya stepped aside and let him walk in. He moved slowly, like each step carried memory. He touched the hood with shaking fingers. He traced the restored logo. He opened the driver door and saw the carving still there. Tears rolled down his face. You kept it, he whispered. I did, Maya said. It mattered. Tom nodded, unable to speak for a moment. He finally looked at Maya. That truck carried me through hard years, he said. I lost a lot. But I never lost her. Until I had to leave. Maya listened. She did not rush him. I thought she was gone forever, Tom continued. Seeing her now feels like finding a part of myself. Leo stood quietly in the corner, understanding more than he said. Maya took a slow breath. Would you like to sit in it? Tom hesitated, then nodded. He sat in the driver's seat, hands resting on the wheel. He closed his eyes and smiled through tears. For a moment, he said, everything feels right again. Maya felt her own eyes burn. She realized then that restoring the truck was never just about metal and paint. It was about people. And this was only the beginning of what the truck would give back. Tom sat in the driver's seat for a long time. His hands rested on the steering wheel, and his eyes stayed closed. The shop was quiet except for the soft ticking of cooling metal. Maya and Leo did not rush him. They understood that this moment was not small. When Tom finally opened his eyes, they were full of memory. He looked around the cab slowly, taking in every detail. The clean dashboard. The strong smell of fresh leather. The way the sunlight fell across the hood through the open door. You brought her back, Tom said again, his voice steady now. Not just the truck. The feeling. Maya nodded. She wanted to be back. Tom let out a quiet breath and stepped out of the truck. He wiped his face with the sleeve of his jacket. I should tell you why she mattered so much. Maya pulled over a stool. Leo sat on an upside-down crate. Tom leaned against the workbench and began. When I came home from service, I had nothing planned, Tom said. No clear job. No clear future. This truck was the first thing that felt solid. I bought it with money I saved bit by bit. I worked odd jobs. Drove supplies. Helped neighbors. That truck never failed me. He smiled softly. She carried tools. She carried food. She carried people who needed a ride. In hard times, she carried hope. Maya listened closely. She could hear truth in every word. One winter, Tom continued, a bad storm hit. Roads closed. Power went out. I used the truck to bring supplies to people who could not leave their homes. She slid on ice. Took hits. But she kept moving. That is when I carved my name inside the door. I wanted her to know she was family. Leo glanced at the carving again, understanding now. Then life changed, Tom said. Work dried up. I had to leave town to care for someone who needed me. I thought I would come back soon. Soon turned into years. He paused and looked at the floor. When I returned, the truck was already behind the fence. I did not have the money or strength to save her. I told myself it was better not to look. Maya felt a quiet ache in her chest. She placed a hand on the workbench. You do not have to explain. I am glad you came. Tom nodded. I heard about the truck through word of mouth. People said a woman was restoring an old Harley truck like it mattered. I knew it had to be her. Leo smiled. She does that. Tom looked at Leo. You helping her? Yes, Leo said. She teaches me. Tom's eyes softened. Then the truck is still teaching too. In the days that followed, Tom visited the shop often. He never got in the way. He simply watched, sometimes offering a memory, sometimes handing a tool. Maya welcomed his presence. It felt right, like the truck had called him back to finish a circle. One afternoon, Maya invited Tom to ride with her. The truck was not fully finished, but it was safe and strong. Tom agreed, his hands steady as he closed the door. They drove slowly through town. People stopped to watch. Some waved. Some pointed. The sound of the engine rolled gently between the buildings. Tom sat tall, his eyes scanning familiar streets. At one corner, he asked Maya to stop. He stepped out and looked at an old building with boarded windows. That used to be a supply store. I parked the truck there every morning. Maya listened as he shared small stories. Not dramatic ones. Simple moments. Laughter. Long days. Quiet nights. When they returned to the shop, Tom seemed lighter. I think she is ready for one more thing, he said. What is that? Maya asked. She should be shown, Tom replied. People should see what care can do. Maya thought about it that night. She sat alone in the shop, looking at the truck. The blue paint gleamed under the lights. The logo stood proud. The carving was protected under a clear layer, visible but safe. The next day, she made a decision. She signed the truck up for the local heritage show. It was not a loud event. No big prizes. Just a gathering of people who loved old machines and the stories behind them. Word spread fast. In the weeks before the show, the shop stayed busy. Maya checked every bolt, every wire, every fluid level. Leo helped clean and polish. Tom came by with old photos of the truck, showing how it looked years ago. On the morning of the show, the town square filled with people. Old engines hummed. Polished metal reflected the sky. Maya drove the Harley truck into place and parked it carefully. People gathered almost at once. They asked questions. They took photos. They ran their hands gently along the sides. Maya answered calmly. She spoke about the work, the care, and the importance of saving what still had life. Then Tom stepped forward. This truck carried me through my hardest years, he said to the crowd. I left it behind when I should not have. Maya gave it back its voice. The crowd grew quiet. This is what happens when someone believes something forgotten still matters, Tom continued. Maya felt her throat tighten. A judge came by later and nodded with approval. But when the awards were announced, Maya did not win first place. She did not mind. What mattered was the way people looked at the truck. Not as an object, but as a memory brought back to life. After the show, as the crowd thinned, Tom pulled Maya aside. I want you to have this, he said, handing her a small envelope. Inside was an old key. The original spare. I kept it all these years, Tom said. But it belongs with the truck now. And the person who saved her. Maya held the key carefully. Thank you. Tom smiled. I think the truck has one more job to do. What job? Maya asked. Tom looked toward Leo, who was talking with another teen near the truck. To teach, Tom said. Just like you are doing. Maya looked at Leo, then back at the truck. She understood. The truck had already changed her life. And it was about to change many more. After the heritage show, life around the shop changed in small but clear ways. People no longer walked past without looking. They stopped. They asked questions. Some asked for help with their own broken machines. Maya welcomed them all. The shop felt alive in a new way. The Harley truck became a quiet teacher. Leo came every afternoon after school. He learned how to change oil, how to listen to engine sounds, and how to stay patient when something did not work the first time. Maya taught him slowly, making sure he understood why each step mattered. She did not rush him. She remembered how confusing things felt when she first started. Tom visited often too. He never tried to take control. He simply shared stories when they fit. Sometimes he brought old tools he no longer used. Sometimes he brought food and sat quietly, watching Maya and Leo work. One afternoon, a woman named Nina stopped by the shop. She was around Maya's age and looked nervous. She held a photo in her hands. "My father had a truck like this," Nina said, pointing to the Harley. "He taught me how to drive in it. I saw yours at the show." Maya listened as Nina explained that her father had passed away years ago. The photo showed an old truck covered in dust, parked behind a barn. "I want to restore it," Nina said. "But I don't know where to start." Maya smiled gently. "You start by believing it is worth saving." That day, Maya realized something important. The truck was no longer just a project. It was a bridge. It connected people to memories, skills, and confidence they thought they had lost. Soon, more young people came by. Some wanted to learn. Some just wanted a safe place to be. Maya set simple rules. Respect the space. Respect the tools. Respect each other. The shop became a place where mistakes were lessons, not failures. Leo grew more confident. He spoke more. He stood taller. One evening, he stayed late to finish cleaning a part. Maya noticed and said nothing. She knew growth when she saw it. Tom watched this change with quiet pride. One night, after the shop closed, Maya sat on a stool beside the truck. The lights were low. The blue paint reflected softly. She held the old spare key Tom had given her and turned it in her hand. She thought about her own past. About the days when she felt unsure. About how machines gave her a sense of control when life felt heavy. She understood now why she had felt drawn to the truck that first evening. It was not chance. A few weeks later, a letter arrived from the town council. They thanked Maya for her work and asked if she would consider starting a small training program for young people interested in mechanical skills. The town had noticed the change around the shop. Maya read the letter twice. She felt nervous, but also excited. She talked with Tom and Leo about it. "You should do it," Leo said quickly. "You already are doing it." Tom nodded. "This town could use something like that. And you are the right person." Maya agreed. She cleaned the shop more carefully than ever. She set up extra work tables. She labeled tools clearly. She hung simple charts on the wall with safety rules and basic steps. The Harley truck stayed parked at the center, like a reminder of what was possible. The first training day arrived quietly. 5 teens showed up. They stood near the door, unsure. Maya welcomed them and introduced herself. She spoke in simple words. She explained that the goal was not to be perfect. The goal was to learn and to care. She started with the truck. "This was once forgotten," Maya said. "Now it runs strong again. That happened because someone did not give up." The teens listened. Leo helped demonstrate simple tasks. Tom shared a short story about driving through storms and helping neighbors. The room felt focused, calm. Over time, the group grew. The shop became a place of steady noise and steady learning. The Harley truck was used to teach basics. How to check fluids. How to listen to the engine. How to treat a machine with respect. One afternoon, Maya noticed Tom standing outside longer than usual. He looked thoughtful. "Everything okay?" she asked. Tom smiled, but there was something behind it. "I received an offer," he said. "A place near my family. They need help." Maya felt a small sadness. "That is good news." "It is. Tom agreed. But it means I will not be here every day. Maya nodded. You will always be part of this. Tom looked at the truck. I know. And I am at peace with that now. Before he left, Tom asked for one last drive. Maya handed him the keys without hesitation. They drove slowly through the town as the sun lowered. People waved. Some smiled. Some simply watched. When they returned, Tom parked the truck carefully and stepped out. Thank you, he said to Maya, for giving something back to me that I thought was gone. Maya shook her head. You gave it to yourself. I just helped. Tom left the next morning. The shop felt quieter without him, but not empty. His presence stayed in the lessons, the stories, and the way the truck stood strong at the center of it all. Weeks passed. One evening, after everyone left, Maya locked the shop and stood beside the Harley truck. She ran her hand along the door and paused at the carving. The name. The date. The proof that care lasts. She smiled. The truck had done more than return one man to his memories. It had built something new. And Maya knew that the final chapter of this story was still waiting to be written. The shop felt different on quiet mornings now. Not empty, just calm. Maya opened the doors early, letting fresh air move through the space. The Harley truck stood in the center, clean and strong, its blue paint catching the light. It no longer felt like a project. It felt like a promise. The training program continued to grow. Teens came from different parts of town. Some were shy. Some were loud. All of them carried something they were trying to understand about themselves. Maya treated them the same way she treated machines. With patience, honesty, and care. She taught them how to listen. Not just to engines, but to problems. She showed them how rushing caused mistakes and how calm hands solved more than force ever could. The truck helped with every lesson. It showed them what steady effort could do. Leo became a leader without trying. He helped new students feel welcome. He explained things in his own words. When someone felt stuck, he stayed with them until they understood. Maya noticed how far he had come and felt proud without saying it out loud. One afternoon, Nina returned with her father's truck. It arrived on a flatbed, dusty and silent. Maya walked around it slowly, the same way she had done with the Harley truck long ago. It can be saved, Maya said. Nina smiled, relief filling her face. The shop became busy again, but this time the work spread beyond one vehicle. Each machine carried a story. Each story brought people together. Parents stopped by. Neighbors offered help. The town felt closer, like it was remembering something important. Months passed. One day, a letter arrived from Tom. Maya recognized the careful handwriting. She read it quietly. He wrote about being near family again. About feeling lighter. About hearing from people who remembered the truck and smiled. He thanked Maya one more time and said the truck had helped him let go of regret. Maya folded the letter and placed it in a small box she kept in her desk. It held photos, notes, and small reminders of moments that mattered. Later that week, the town council visited the shop. They watched the students work. They listened to Maya explain her approach. They nodded and smiled. At the end of the visit, one of them said, "We want to support this. Not just as a program, but as a permanent space." Maya felt her breath catch. She had never planned for something this big. She looked around the shop. At the tools. At the students. At the truck. She said yes. The day the support was announced, the shop filled with people. There was no stage, no loud music. Just conversation, laughter, and quiet pride. The Harley truck stood near the door, polished and ready. Maya spoke only once. "This truck taught us that nothing is truly lost if someone is willing to care," she said. "Everything you see here started with that idea." People clapped, but not loudly. It was the kind of applause that came from understanding. As the crowd thinned, Leo stayed behind. He held a small box. "I made something," he said. Inside was a simple metal plate. It had the truck's year and model. Beneath it were new words. Restored with care for the town. Maya swallowed hard. We should put it on the wall. They did. That evening, after the shop closed, Maya took the Harley truck out for a drive. The road stretched ahead, quiet and open. She drove slowly, feeling the steady power of the engine. She passed the fence where the truck had once sat forgotten. The fence was gone now. The space was clean. She stopped for a moment and turned off the engine. The silence felt full, not empty. Maya thought about the first time she had seen the truck. About the pull in her chest. About the risk she had taken. She realized that sometimes the right path did not make sense at first. It simply felt true. She started the engine again and drove back. When she returned to the shop, the lights were off. She parked the truck carefully and locked the door. Before leaving, she rested her hand on the door where the carving was. The name. The date. The past. She smiled and turned away. The next morning, new students arrived. New machines waited. New stories stood ready. And at the center of it all stood the 1975 Harley truck. Not as a symbol of the past, but as proof that care could build a future. The story did not end there. It continued every day the shop doors opened.